Hey everybody, I'm Laura Manasowich.
And I'm Katie Royo.
And this is
Pinky Promise!
It's a podcast about growing up.
Right.
We have a special guest with us today. We have with us comedian, actress, filmmaker, and podcaster, and her one-woman show, 50 Shades of Mix, is now available online. We have Anastasia Washington here today. Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining.
Flail.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a good flail. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm doing good,
Yeah,
doing.
It's a time. What a time to be alive.
Sure, let's say that.
It's definitely a week.
The last one that we did was the day before the election, and we didn't mention it, but we were like, we're all a little stressed. And now it's the week after, and we're like, it's here we
Still
are.
Stressed.
Still pretty stressed. There's a new app for people to leave.
Yeah.
I actually snuck on that app. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
No, what is it?
Like a lot of Trump supporters are leaving Facebook because they feel oppressed by Facebook. So they started an app called Parlor. And so I made a Parlor because I was
Did you?
I did. And I was on there for like 10 minutes and I was like, I can't.
It was too much. You don't need to. Yeah, you don't need to know. You don't need that.
No, I hand sanitized my whole body,
Right.
my mind, and I'm fine now.
We saw the
Everything's
tweet
fine.
that was like the I don't know, voter fraud tipster line that was like, if you've seen something, call in and leave us a message or
We're
whatever.
trying so
So my person I was with called the number and I was like, oh, we're doing this. And it was, none of the agents were available to take our important call, but there was a voicemail that you could leave. And he was just like, I was told I was supposed to be owned. It's like, you have to hang up the phone right now. We can't be doing this. But that's out there. You can call and report you can DIY your election fraud.
That's good.
Voicemails if you need to.
That's
They
nice.
need options in entertainment right now.
That's
So
right.
you know what? Do what you got to do.
That's a voicemail box for people who don't want to see a therapist. They're
Well,
like,
and
I
then
have to talk
today-
to someone.
He sent me an update that was like, the people who are manning the phones are like, it's a lot of prank calls and sexually graphic material.
I can't.
What did
even
you
imagine.
expect it was going to be when you put this phone number on Twitter? You can't put a phone number on Twitter.
You can't. I've tried it. I'm just kidding. I haven't.
Well,
It'd be the worst.
I did it twice.
yeah. Okay. Well, we aren't here to talk about the election, though we could be. And it'll probably keep coming up. But we are here to talk about being a child actor, singer, right?
Right.
Yes. I don't know if I'd say star, but thank you.
I would.
We're saying star. We've been
We're
saying
shooting
star.
for the stars for
My
me.
boyfriend was like, what is the episode this week? And I go, we're talking to a child star.
I mean, I did mold a lot of young minds, but not in a stardom way. But thank you.
We're doing it. We're calling it star.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'm trying to take compliments more this
That's
year.
right. That's right. Katie, do you have extensive experience being a child star?
I had my stint in the 6th grade play as one of 7 leads. Which meant we all got 7 lines.
Was this the recycler when you were
Yeah,
a
my
recycler?
recycler. Yeah.
I
So
remember that.
Anastasia, my social studies teacher, who was the coolest social studies teacher, he wrote his own play, and it was about recycling.
Ooh.
And very heavy stuff for us. But because he's such a great guy, there was no lead, but there were I think it was 5 of us who were the main kids learning about recycling or whatever through the process of the play. And it was a musical, guys. It had music because his wife was the music teacher. Yeah. I actually after we started doing the podcast, his son went to school with us and we just started messaging on Facebook just to catch up. I should ask him if he has the book for it because I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love
And
to
do a whole Zoom reading
Yes.
show for it.
Yes, that's it. And you can be the star.
can be 1 of 5 stars.
Yes.
Do you remember the show Recycle Rex? I don't know. It depends on where you're from. Oh, okay. So there was a show called Recycle Rex, and he was like this dinosaur that taught you about recycling. And he had this like song called like recycle, reduce, reuse, and close the loop. I was so into it. And then later on in college, I actually met the guy.
Oh.
And I was just like, you're Recycle Rex. But he was
not what you
never
well,
he
meet
wasn't
your
a dinosaur.
heroes.
Which is perhaps the biggest letdown.
It's like, you're not a dinosaur.
It's weird.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm having
Hollywood.
Complicated feelings right now.
I'm like, also, why did I have like a crush on a dinosaur
Exactly.
that was obsessed with recycling?
That's you know what? That's a good, if you're gonna pick a dinosaur, it's a good dinosaur to pick.
I'd like to say that's the only dinosaur I've had fantasies about. I'm not sure.
I'm glad it's maybe not. Like, that's exciting for me.
I don't know. I have
Or
a weird
do a
taste in
Jurassic
men.
Park. Yeah.
Start somewhere. And for some of us, it's a recycling dinosaur, you know?
Yes.
Wherever it
Started
takes
there.
you.
All right. So you were a recycler. I was like B-roll in a very low budget 1 to 2 episode children's show that like,
which is like, to me, you're also a child star.
yeah, I mean, it lives on VHS somewhere. I've tried to Google it and I can't find it, which I think is great. But it was my friend's uncle, and maybe a woman he would say, like, I don't know. They knew each other. So the guy who wrote it was Dave, I think. And then the show was called Our Friend Linda. And Linda was like, you know, the cool adult of the show. And then there were like children who learned lessons along with her. And then there was a puppet named Borgie. And Borgie was obviously the comedic relief. And
Obviously.
And I was sick.
I thought he was going to be the voice of reason.
Heaven
straight man.
Right. And I was sick for like the first whatever day they were gonna film. I believe I had strep throat, which was like, if I ever couldn't be at something as a child, it was because I had strep throat. And so but I still wanted to, you know, do it. And they were like, yeah, we've got like another day of filming. And that was like when I learned the word B-roll. And so it was just like a lot of like which if you're listening and not watching our Zoom, is just like smiles in the background and
big
like a lot
smiles.
of nodding. Yeah, big smiles and nodding. And I was like, I just, you know, you got to get your start somewhere.
That's how it starts, baby.
And that was it. Yeah. So that was the extent of my child stardom and I guess various tiny theater productions. And I use production lightly.
I just remembered that growing up, my dad, I think he would have been on board with us being like stars because we had to, he came up with an elaborate audition to be on, I think it was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something, or I don't remember. I just remember that we had to, like, he made an audition tape and he made me and my sister be in it. And he like had a suitcase and my dad is an immigrant from Mexico. So he was working with the English that he had, and which like he could speak English, but then he would be like, oh, I'm ready to go, have my suitcase, ja, 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 ja. Like, my sister and I were just like standing next to the suitcases, like could not be any less interested in being in this audition tape. And he really thought, like, he was like, guys, we're going to, I think it was Family Feud. It was something like, I don't remember if they were doing like a kids Family Feud or something, but for some reason we needed to be involved in it. And he like made us be in this audition tape. And then that wasn't enough because the Oscar Mayer Wiener kid, do you remember that there was like a kid, like a search for the kid, like the hot dog kid? Yeah. My dad made us go. Like, we had no interest in auditioning for this. And he made us go and audition. And I had to sing the Oscar Mayer Wiener song in front of a mobile hot dog. Summer
Yeah, you
day
did.
in a parking lot. Yeah, I did.
Were
you
you
did.
or your sister the Oscar Mayer Wiener Kid? Is this things we don't know about you but should?
We didn't make it.
Okay. Nor did you make it on Family
We didn't make it
Family
on
Feud?
anything.
No.
We let him
Did you get a whistle?
He would have been. Yeah, I think maybe we got a whistle.
I remember
It's so
going
bad.
to like Double Dare Live or something like that.
yeah.
Like I think they had like a touring production of it or whatever. And it was like when I learned that the cheaper your seats are, the less involved you get to be. Because we were like way up, and I was like, "We'll definitely get picked for something," and it was like, "Oh, of course not, never." I was
They've
like,
already
"Well,
casted it." Just
Yeah.
yeah, like surely a T-shirt? No, okay."
We were like, we can't have kids falling down from the rafters to get to
No.
the stage.
No.
No.
You could have a $13 cotton candy or look at somebody else's. That was
That sounds about right.
Anastasia, how did you get your start? Tell us how it all began.
Well, I was the Oscar Mayer Wiener.
Began with an audition tape.
It all started with a hot dog.
No, I was I guess I was kind of annoying when I was a kid. I would not stop singing and dancing and tap dancing and whatnot. There's a story about me going to SeaWorld when I was like 3 years old, and I decided to tap dance and sing instead of watch the show. And then like everybody
You're like, I
got
want to
up.
be the show.
Yeah, exactly. And so then like everybody clapped for the whale because he did something, fantastic, and I took a bow. They were like, he needs an agent.
That's amazing.
So then I went like within the week or two of that incident, like I was in
The SeaWorld incident.
Yeah, they recorded it.
SeaWorld incident. I've never been able to be back. No, just kidding. I went and auditioned for a manager. I still remember that audition, even though I was like 3. And I got it. And so I started working like pretty steadily after that. I did a lot of
doing what? Yeah, I was gonna say doing like commercial stuff or like.
Yeah, well, I did a lot of soundtracks of the 80s and 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, and then and at times I was actually the person that on screen was singing it as well. A lot of times I was the voice, and sometimes I was the voice and the person.
Like as a child singing?
Yes, like as a child singing. Like
Wow.
when there was a child singing in some movie or TV show, it was probably one of 10 of us. Like in my
Wow.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were we had some amazing like experiences. Like you said, you got sick on set. I got really sick on, I think it was, my dog hates it. My dog was like, no, don't tell that story.
Dog's like, please stop. It's
She's
embarrassing.
like, don't talk about it. I did the movie that is somewhat a Christmas movie that people debate about, Die Hard 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a Christmas movie, and
I think it's a
great
Christmas movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people disagree, and they're wrong. But
they weren't like the stars of the movie. They don't know.
They don't know. They don't know. But I got really sick on set because it was a couple. I think we were on like 2 or 3 days, and they cleared out Tom Bradley Airport in LAX. Like the whole airport terminal was just production, and like. We were there a couple days. The first day they had all this like fancy catering, and all of us kids were like, ew.
Like, how old were you?
Yeah,
I must have been like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Wow.
Like pretty.
Did you
like,
live in LA?
I did. I was born and raised in LA.
Okay.
And so we were all like disgusting, and so Bruce Willis got us all Happy Meals. We were just like so ecstatic. And I'm not sure if this is why I got sick or not, so I'm not gonna say that, because McDonald's is delicious, and if they want to sponsor me, whatever. I'm not saying I got sick.
And Bruce Willis is generous.
He's generous. But the next day I was like feverish, and I was like on stage, just like, because I was singing like a Christmas carol, and then the whole place like blows up. So like I sang, and it's like, and then poof, right. So I'm like, I'm like on stage, and like I guess I looked really, really sick. So like during the take, I just like walked off. You know, like they're like, "Are you okay? Can you shoot the next scene?" He came over and he was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to like take a break or whatever?" And then I vomited all over my mom and everywhere. And I said, "Yeah, I'm good to do another take."
What a pro.
Oh my god.
Did you puke on Bruce Willis?
Yeah, that was my big question.
I puked everywhere. I puked on my mom mainly because like that's love, right?
Yeah,
I turned to
you
the
put it
person
right
I
to her.
love
That's
the
right.
most and vomited on them. But there was splash all around. I mean, I am not a
It's
queen.
an action movie.
Yeah.
Right? I was just getting into character, you guys.
You're
So
like,
I
you
just...
said big boom.
Exactly. You're gonna kill me in the next shot anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
So
Going out on my terms.
Yeah.
my terms. So yeah, I actually, my manager used to always say like, "You do better when you're sick. You should get sick before every movie." And I'm like, that's
Not
Not
weird.
helpful.
Don't
Yeah.
say that to me. But I did get sick a lot. I suspect she might have gotten me sick a lot.
She just gives you like
Wait a
tissues to wipe.
minute.
Yeah. Like, blow
Wait
your
a
nose
minute.
on this one.
Why was I always sick before a show?
Here's another Happy Meal.
Exactly. I'm just kidding. No, Happy Meals are great. Again, sponsor me. No, I mean, so yeah, I did like a lot of soundtracks and Christmas and like from Halloween on to Christmas, like what I call my holiday seasons, because Halloween is part of the holiday season.
Counts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty like nostalgic and like residual check season for me. I did a lot of
Oh.
those kind of films.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice because like I'll see people, this sounds really selfish and whatever, but I'll see people like, and I'm like, ooh, I'm getting a check. Keep watching that.
Yeah.
Watch it again.
That's amazing. Good for
Yeah, just
you.
watch
Yeah.
it. But it's funny, like so I did both the Addams Family movies. So I did the first one, I'm in, and the second one I did all the singing for the campers. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah.
With
Just watched the second one like
Did you?
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
So my friend the other day, he was like, "I was looking for you in Addams Family Values. I was looking for you everywhere." I was like, "I'm not in that one."
Yeah.
But thank you. Continue to watch it until you find me.
Yeah, please, stream it again. Stop and start it.
But you know, it's such a weird way. I think I didn't realize how weird it was.
Yeah.
growing up. But I think the older I get, and the more I see other people like and hear other people's childhood and like my nieces and stuff, like seeing them grow up, I'm like, oh, this is different. It's like different experiences, not necessarily negative, just different.
Yeah.
Did you do regular school or did you do like kid actor
that's what I was gonna
school? How did all that work?
So I was at a school that was predominantly actors. So like at nutrition, all of us, this is the age of the pagers, you guys. I'm aging myself.
Nope.
Like at nutrition, we would all run to the payphone to try to call our agents. Like that was like the norm.
That was
and
the
there was
thing.
many a
Yeah.
fight. Many a fight.
Oh yeah, because you're
Like,
probably
you
going for
have
the
a
same
B
roles,
agent.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not so much me, because I'm half Black, but I don't present super ethnic, but I am ethnically ambiguous. So I am comic relief best friend singer.
Yeah.
A lot of these girls were ingenues, and they let me know every single day.
What a treat.
Brutal.
Yeah,
Brutal.
they're like, I'm up for a national. I'm up for the lead. I'm like, well, I'm probably gonna play your best friend, so move out of the way.
You better be nice to me.
Would be boring without my help.
Do you want me to support you or not? Get out of my way.
So did you find that you were doing did you like doing the singing part of it more or the acting part, or did you just not care? It was just like, I want to do any job that they give me.
I am the same way I am now, which is I love work.
Yeah.
I love finding different ways to work. So I was always very excited to work. I did love a lot. I love acting a lot. Singing sometimes when I'm not in a studio makes me nervous. Which is so weird because people are like, you're a singer, sing for us. And I'm like, I want to vomit right now. Stop talking to me. Like, I also think it's weird. I mean, you guys probably get this too. Like when people, you know, find out you're some kind of performer, they're like, dance for me.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't ask you as a plumber to go clean my pipes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I think that's very interesting because I feel like I think I'm an introvert, and I love when people tell me, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, fascinating. You would know better than me. But also, like, I've always loved, like, being on stage is the most fun. Making people laugh is the only thing I ever want to do. And then when I'm off stage, I'm like, if you're not in my 6-person circle of trust, I actually don't need to be around you. And I think it's like difficult to express that when people are like, you did the weird thing with the big voice. And you're like, I don't want to do that right now. Now I want to eat French fries in the dark.
Now it's quiet time.
It's quiet time. But I you know, like growing up in LA and being a child actor, like you always have to be on, right? Like, 'cause you never like, you never know who anybody is. You never, and you know, like I had to, as I got older, go, you could not always be like cordial. Not, you should always be.
You don't always need to be on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like and I'm not gonna lie, it's been like recent, like last couple years, and people are like, wait a minute, Anastasia, you're not acting like you normally did. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm just like being like you.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just relaxing for a second, or not wanting to talk right now, or whatever it is. And it's but it took me a long time to be like, you don't have to please everybody in the room, and you don't have to like, talk it up and blah, blah, blah. Like it's weird. I was never really super boastful, and people are always like, I've known you for years and I didn't know that you did this and that and this and that. And I'm like, if it came up, I would tell you, but if it didn't, like I wouldn't. And so there's this thing that you have to kind of figure out what it, you know, oops, sorry, it stopped recording on my end. Sorry.
That's okay. We have the Zoom call too, so we can just use that if we need to.
Yeah,
we'll just use that.
It restarted. So I had to figure out like what I wanted to present, and also be proud of the things I did and not be like embarrassed by them. I think that's also a thing. Like I'm learning again very recently that I can be proud of the things I accomplished as a kid now, and it's not like selfish or boastful. That's such a weird, I think especially as women, we are taught to like, you know, like, oh, don't brag, you know, or something like that. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily a brag. Sometimes it's just like
my life.
It's my life, and why shouldn't I be proud? Like, you know, no offense to men, but men have no problem saying what they've done. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah. I'm in this writers group, and whenever we start like guessing, like second guessing ourselves, I go, everyone calm down. Okay, close your eyes and pretend you're in a white male man's body. Do you feel right? Like, you know, it's like that. Like
as comedians, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to other female comics who are like, oh, I just like when I email a booker now, I just pretend I'm a dude. Like I'm like, what would I do if I was a dude? I would just send this clip and do whatever. And it is crazy. Like some of it is I feel like men and women are equally skilled, but because men have that confidence, they just get more things because they're asking for more. And women are like, oh, well, like if you have time, maybe you can let me sneak me in there. And guys are like, I'm really funny. I've been writing jokes for like 2 minutes and my mom laughs all the time. So like, I think I could definitely do 42 minutes.
Yeah, that's the truth. They even if we are overly qualified. Sometimes we don't even ask. And that's what I've been really trying to work on with myself, especially during COVID. It's like, why not? You know, nobody's doing anything, just ask. And I've seen it really work well in other areas of my life. And I was like, so why not apply it to yourself? You know? So like, I never had problems like when I first started podcasting, asking for the group, because that was for other people, right?
Yeah,
like,
I am guilty of that. Like if I partner with someone, I have no problem being like, can you do this with both of us? And I feel like I'm asking on behalf of the other person. And if it's for me, I'm like, oh, I just really don't want to bother them. But like you said, with COVID, I'm just like, what the fuck else am I doing? And if they say no, I don't have to see them in person, because we don't see anyone in person.
Right? Exactly. It's like, why not ask? Like, what, you know, I had this boldness, like, so I started a podcast like 10 something years ago called Awkward Conversations. It's no longer whatever, but we started out as a live radio show, and then we were like a nerdy show, and we ended up being a podcast because that's the way the world works. And I was like, it'd be cool to be in cons, and because it was not for me, it was for a group. I asked conventions, and we are regulars like at San Diego Comic-Con now. All I did was ask.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? Would I do that for me?
No.
Hopefully now, yes.
Right. At this point,
At this point, yes. But like, it's so weird how, you know, I used to lean on the fact that as a kid actor, I didn't have to make any decisions, right?
Well, I was just gonna say, isn't it interesting that as a kid you were like, I need attention and I want it, so how do I get it? Because you hadn't been taught yet to be like, hold yourself back. Exactly. So it is funny. You're just like, oh, there's a fucking whale behind me, but I'm tap dancing. I'm gonna ask you guys to look at me.
Exactly.
Who?
Right though? I'm the other black and white thing you should look at. I don't know.
Similarly, like I see all the you know, Actors Access and LA casting and stuff, and I have like daily affirmation talks with, and daily is light, you get 6 million a day, and because I'll go through them and I'll be like, you know, the descriptions are outrageous, but if it's like beautiful girl, I'm like, oh, not me, delete. Or like stunning beauty, not me, delete. Or like average body, I'm like, not me, delete. And I like fucking have an average body, but you can like read the code and you're like, that's, you know, that whatever. But I've started to be like, challenge it, bitch, you're beautiful, submit your ass, like, you know. And it's like, that's it, is if they're not gonna call me, then it's no skin off my back, but like, be more than quirky best friend, like, because
challenge it, you know, like, you never know if you're the, like, I am usually the wild card in a lot of auditions, right? There's usually like either super white people and then me, or you know, darker people and then me, and it's like they're just trying to figure out which way are they going, and then they throw me in there and they're like, this is something new. You know, and I'm a curvy girl, you know, even when I was like a size 2, I was still like badonk and boobs. So you know, I'm always kind of the wild card, and I used to be so upset about that, and now I'm just like, it's so fun, because it's like I had to take the pressure off myself, right? There's nothing we can do about whether they're going to cast us or not. We could be pitch perfect, amazing, and let's face it, if you don't have the same height as your co-host or whatever, there's so many elements. There's so many elements that have to line up for you to be cast, and it has nothing to do with your talent or how good you did. And so like beating myself up over that for years and years since I was a kid, like that was a lot on my soul. Now I'm just like,
yeah, no, that's good. Did you feel like, was there a point when you were growing up that it stopped being something that was fun and turned into something that stressed you out, as far as like, because when you're little, you just go get the try, but I don't even know, like when you were little, did you realize that you were trying out for something, or was it just like the audition itself is so fun, I don't even care if I get the part?
Oh no, I
knew.
Yeah, and I was the biggest pressure on myself. I've always been like a stress pot. Like I always had phobias and anxiety, and I think
that's part of the performer gene is just
I
think to have depression, anxiety, or both.
Or all of them.
There's a reason you're turning outside for affection.
Exactly. And so I think I was always hard on myself. And I probably was like a little too smart for my own good, because I knew everything that like was kind of going on way young. And so I was a lot harder on myself than I think anybody else would have been, and that's not always the case. Like I watched a lot of child actors and people that I auditioned with, and their parents were so hard on them, and I was the complete opposite. My mom was like, if you don't get this one, it's fine, let's go get ice cream after, let's go you know, like she was just like, whatever, you'll get the next one, you're great, or whatever. And I'd be like, I am the worst. I'm never gonna work in this town again. Becky got it again. Why do I have a mediocre agent? Just like very a lot. They used to call me baby woman.
They called you what?
Like, baby woman, because I was like a little tiny woman. Like most of the pictures of me when I was a kid are like I'm bossing around some boy. I'm like
lots of pointing at someone,
and pouting,
and just being like, "Listen, I'm gonna tell you how it is, okay?" And the boys are just sitting there taking it, and I was like, "Where is this in my later life?
They just do it."
They're taken.
Were your parents like into it as well, or were you just like, "This is the thing I want to do," and they were behind you? Like, were they industry folk themselves?
They were not. Although, so my dad was like a city official in Los Angeles, working under Mayor Tom Bradley, who was our first Black mayor in Los Angeles. Sorry, Black pride. And then my mom was worked for the county assessor's office, so collecting them taxes and stuff. Until I was like around 3 or 4 years old, and she kind of became a stay-at-home mom for me. But my mother, when she was real young, she got kicked out of her house when she was like 14, and she started dancing at the Whiskey a Go-Go. So she has a dance background. But she like didn't even tell my dad ever. She didn't tell any members of our family. It wasn't until I was like a teenager and I was watching VH1 and I saw the Beatles. And there was this person in the back, and she was wearing like a two-piece, like
shut up.
And I was like, "Excuse me, mother?" And she's like, "Oh, so I had to work under the table. I was like 15, so dancing at night and going to school during the day." I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, whatever.
We need your mom on the podcast.
I know, she's epic. Oh, she's epic. But yeah, so that's the biggest like industry connection I have. But my dad would probably say that he would rather us not do any industry thing. And it took a lot, like my dad has since passed, but when he was alive, he was always like, "You could just get a government job, no matter like what." Like I'm like, "Hey, Papa, I'm going to the Oscars," and he'd be like, "You could get a government job,
What's the pension? What's the pension on the
With
Oscars?"
The pension. I'm like, okay. I'm pretty proud. No. Oh, okay.
Got it.
Waiting. Still no. It's a still no. It's a still no, you guys. It's okay.
There will always be a government job.
Yeah,
I will consider it.
Yeah, right. You could be a janitor. Yes, I could.
There's a wonderful pension.
Wonderful pension. But I want to play him on TV instead.
That's right. That's right. I'd like to play the role of the janitor. Okay.
Yeah, it's like my sister's a doctor, right? Big whoop. I played one in a video game, so
basically the same thing.
Yeah,
same thing.
So when you were growing up, were you how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 older sisters. They were 12 and 13 when I was born. So I was a
oh wow. Yeah, an unplanned but loved.
Right, a pleasant surprise.
So were they did either of them do any entertaining, or was it just you?
So when they were teenagers, this was like right before like TLC and everybody took off. Kenny G formed a band with my sisters and my cousin, and they were going to be like a rap trio, like hip hop thing. And then there's a dispute, so I'm not going to say who. One of them didn't want to rap or say the things that they said, and they disbanded the band.
Wow.
And two of them to this day are very upset. But I'm not going to say which one because it's disputed.
Yeah. You know?
Wow.
You can't say
The holidays are coming up, and I want to sit at the table.
That's so wild.
I know. I was like, you guys could have been so, and whatever.
Yeah.
So then they, went off and got their master's degree and became doctors and teachers, whatever. But you could have been a band.
Yeah. Wow.
You could have been me.
Isn't she the long saxophone guy?
Yes.
Like what?
I don't know. Like
I feel like
he worked a lot with Babyface and like Mariah Carey and stuff like that.
They probably could have done something for sure.
But one who we won't name.
Yeah.
One
to go a different direction.
Wow.
She didn't want to do it. She didn't like the outfits or the songs or whatever. She was just like, not. And I get it. There was times on set that I threw one major, like, I remember how bad that tantrum was.
Tell us the tantrum.
So Adam's Family, the first one, when I was actually in it, they made us wear these, like, we were a part of a talent show and we were wearing these like flower costumes. And I hate tights. Like, I hate them. And I was required to wear tights. And I remember my mom actually had to take me over to the side, and I was just like, no, I'm not wearing tights. They itch and they're stupid.
Oh my God.
And my mom's like, listen, you don't have to act ever again, but you made a promise and you signed a contract and you're finishing this. And I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
Naked. So I'm the unhappy flower in the corner, but it works.
Now I need to watch this.
I feel like I'm a yellow flower. I don't know. It's been a bit.
I'll watch it so you can get some more money.
Yes, please do. Watch them all. That set was so fun, except for my tantrum. Like, that was like one of the most fun times ever. And I did have to go to school on that one.
So what would you go to school like a couple days a week and then go to, or they'd have school on set?
Yeah, school on set, yeah. Which is weird, which is a weird situation because you'd like be in your costume.
Yeah.
And Christina Ricci would be in her costume. And during the scenes that we were in, Pugsley and her were like both wearing prosthetics that were like squirting blood. So we'd be like doing our, like, the teacher would be there.
Yeah.
And they would be like, which like didn't scare me. I was just like,
yeah,
squirting blood.
Right, it's just a distraction.
I was so distracted.
How many kids were there? Yeah. Like a neck fidget spinner. How many kids were like in the group? Like, was it a group of you that were always together?
In the tutoring shift of
like, would you guys be like a class, or was it like?
It's kind of like whoever's on set that day. So we were there, I think, for like a week or something. And so Christina Ricci and God, I can't remember Pugsley's name. I'm just gonna call him Pugsley.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. We're always there, and all of us that were in the play, because there was like more than one play.
Yeah.
So we were all in it for like the whole week.
Okay.
So yeah, and then like I mean, like, we saw like Raul Julia was always there. He was such a nice guy. I think he was flirting with my mom because he had lunch with us like a lot, just like hanging out. I was like, I didn't even realize it because like I was like, oh yeah, Raul Julia, telling my friend, I was like, Raul Julia was such a nice guy. He had lunch with me and my mom like almost every day, and they're like, why?
What? Like, yeah.
I don't know.
It was weird. He just kept kissing up her whole arm.
He was totally banging my mom. And I was just like, thank you for lunch.
I'm not wearing the tights.
Not wearing the tights.
So then as you got older, like
I still don't wear tights. No.
Listen, live your truth.
If there's one takeaway from this podcast, You're not a tights gal.
I'm not.
So
Leggings.
Leggings, which basically are tights, but
no. Don't you ruin this for me. How dare you?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but leggings are basically tights.
No.
So as you got older, did you how did that affect your friendships growing up? Because you're constantly like moving to different jobs and you're in school, but you're not probably always in school. So were you able to develop like close friendships growing up?
Not really.
Yeah. No, that's what I would imagine.
Yeah, I actually, once as I've gotten older, I've had to like go, oh, you can like, because I'm used to people just drifting in and out of my life.
Yeah.
And I had to be like, oh, like people actually want like constant attention.
Connection. Yeah.
And I'm learning. Like a lot of my friends are like, whenever we pick up the phone, you're there for us, but you never like pick up the phone for me and call us and like call on us. And I was like, yeah, I just do my thing. And when I see you, when you need me, I'll see you.
Well, you probably grew up like, I would imagine, teaching yourself to be pretty self-sufficient because you're working as a kid, so you like learn independence and all that shit. So it's got to take a minute to figure out that your experience is different than other people's, right?
Yeah, I always kind of say that I'm like kind of like a dude where I'm like, I can do this over text. Oh, you want me to like
spend time together.
Okay. But like I'm good at listening. Like I'm good at like, really like listening to emotions and being there for people, but I'm not always like not for myself.
I was gonna say, do you think that's an acting thing? Like you're used to listening to the other people that are on stage, but what you give out is not yours. Usually it's like a part. You know what I mean?
Probably.
And that's like a skill that you develop as a child, is learning how to make relationships like that. So I'm sure it's probably another, like, you probably know a lot of amazing skills that have to do with acting and singing, and then you're like, oh, I gotta learn how to make friends.
Yeah, like
I gotta be vulnerable.
Vulnerability is not that's not gonna get me a gig. But I'm learning that it is actually like being more yourself and like sharing more of yourself and being vulnerable. Not only does it help you in your acting and it helps you in your life and your relationships. I don't know why I put quotes, but are real.
We're still learning.
We're still learning. That's probably why I'm a horrible dater. I'm just horrible. Horrible.
This is actually an intervention podcast for you.
Oh my God, did my niece put you up to this?
He was like, I want her to date someone nice, and I want her to just try tights one more time.
No, it's a no. The dating, I've tried dating during quarantine. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't really like it when it's not quarantine.
Yeah.
I just like when a guy's like, we've been like friends for like years and years, and they're like, just so you know, I'm in love with you. Cool, this works. I have a
You're like, we can do this. You're like, you mean I've been putting the time in this whole time and I didn't notice? Bonus.
No, great. That's awesome.
As it turns out, I'm also attracted to and very comfortable with you. So let's just roll right into year 4 of this. Great.
Great. And then we almost get married. Then I have a panic attack. And then
I've seen that movie. You were great in it.
Yeah. You're awesome. I think you played me.
Oh, Lord. I will get better. I'm getting better.
It's a process. It's a process. We're always trying to get better.
We're always growing.
I mean, I don't play video games when people are arguing with me anymore. So I feel like I play Emoji Blitz sometimes.
You're getting there.
They can't see it as much when they're filming me.
You're like, I'm writing down important thoughts.
I'm like, did you just get a Darkwing Duck emoji? No. I didn't.
I'm offended that you would say that to me.
Yeah. And also, it wasn't Darkwing Duck. It was Evil Queen. So you suck.
You're off. This is why it's not working.
So are most of your friends now also performers, or have normal folks infiltrated your friendship circle?
I have normal friends. I am not normal. Like, everybody's in the industry. It's either like everyone's in the industry, or because I'm very involved in the nerd world, they're involved in the nerd community somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of gamers, a lot of hosts, a lot of cosplayers, and weirdly enough, scientists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're good people to know in a pandemic.
Yeah.
They are. And they're also like a lot of like JPL and NASA peeps like to hang out with the nerd community because it makes sense. And I am deathly scared of space, so it makes sense that we'd be friends.
You're like, that's perfect. I don't want to talk about anything that you do in your day job.
They're like, I'm going to Mars in a couple years, and I'm like, good for you. I just had a slight panic attack and palpitation. Because people are always like, well, what if you had to go into space? And I'm like, if I had to go into space, I would go, but like I would probably throw up and panic. I don't.
You're like, I'm not gonna be happy about it. I'm
not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me. Who's like, let me go into space. I guess there is somebody. Those guys.
Yeah, your friends. So as you were growing up, did you like what was kind of the arc of the career? Like did it just your parts just keep getting bigger and bigger? And then because I know there's like a weird transition from when you're like not a cute little kid to like you have to like make it through that awkward like tween stage and then you like come out again as like a teenager. So what was that like for you?
I think I like peaked at like 12. No, I mean like things slowed down in my teens, like my early teens. I started, like I look like a Cabbage Patch doll, but like a sexy Cabbage Patch doll.
Sure.
But there was that like awkward, like maybe slightly melted Cabbage Patch stage. And I just didn't know what to do with it, and I tried to act and I tried to do stuff, but I also tried to be like a teenager, and that was hard. Like being a biracial kid, you have some stuff to go. Yes, Fiona, I know. My dog is barking.
She's like, pay attention to me.
I know, right? But being a biracial kid, you have a lot of issues in your own right, just identifying and figuring it out. And so I went through like some tough years, and I also like tend to gain weight. So like that has been a thing since I was like 8 years old. Like I think that was the first time somebody said something to me like, oh, lay off the candy bars, you're getting chunky.
At 8?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I was like a dancer, so I had like really thick, and I'm half black, so I had thick thighs and like big butt even when I was like really skinny and like a round face. And so like I always had to like watch it because people would always say stuff to me. And so like during my teen years, I didn't know what I would like, that's when you're like if somebody says something to you, like I remember, my mom is an amazing person, but she is a little Southern belle at times. She'd be like, you shouldn't have that double. And I'd be like, great, I'm gonna have a 3x3 now.
Yes.
In front of your face, like, and then I struggled with like an eating disorder for a bit. But then I got really healthy and like really like happy and skinny and perfect and great at around like 17 and started modeling, and I was so happy. And then I got a boyfriend.
Did you get a bad boyfriend?
No, he was great.
Oh, good.
We got engaged. Everything was great. And then we couldn't decide where to live. He lived in a different country and I lived here, and I wanted to stay here and he wanted to stay there. And I ate feelings and they tasted delicious.
Yeah, they do.
And so I had a manager at the time that told me gain 50 pounds or lose like 50 pounds. And I was like, well, that sounds delicious. I will gain 50. And so I started becoming a plus size model. And so modeling really like sustained me for a long time. And I had to figure out what that looked like acting wise, and it's been a thing, and I think once I embraced comedy, once I embraced that I was funny and that it's okay. And also I had to figure out what kind of comedy I wanted to be in. Because when I first started doing stand-up and stuff, I would do what people wanted me to do, which was talk about my weight and make a joke about it, right? And I at some point was like, that's not funny anymore to me. And it
has to be funny to you to work for an audience. So if you're like, I roll this joke, that comes through. So then
Yeah.
So do you still do stand-up now?
I do. I talk a lot about true crime because I'm obsessed. I talk a lot about being biracial. I talk a lot about being awkward and dating and stuff like that. I'm very honest and truthful and vulnerable in my stand-up, which is so weird because again, it's a
That's
vulnerability
your
journey
safe
that I'm
space.
on.
Yeah.
It's my safe space.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I'm very vulnerable in artistic ways, like stand up, and my one woman show is like, woof, that is funny, but also that hurts, but also funny,
because the lights are in your eyes and the audience can't talk back, so it's very safe up there.
it is. But yeah, so like I've been very there's been this like journey in my comedy where it's just been like super honest, and since I've been super honest, not that I wasn't being super honest when I was talking about being overweight and making jokes, I wasn't really that self-deprecating. If anything, I made a joke about like how it is like
in the industry.
How it is in the industry, and how much better, like, oh, you guys are so skinny and like I have to maintain all this kind of stuff, sex, I made it like even more like kind of a positive thing, but it was just like not, I had to evolve. We have to evolve.
If it's not what you want to be doing, it's never going to be fun for you.
No, and I think we all like, we can't keep doing the same shtick anyway.
Right.
We've got to evolve as comedians, and we got to figure it out. I do want to talk more about being a child actor in my stand-up.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you talk about that because it's so interesting.
It's so weird. I was like, nobody wants to hear about this, but then like
everybody wants to hear about it.
Well, I had this coach once. She's like, you should sing one of your old songs as an adult. And I was like, that seems so Gypsy Rose Lee to me. I don't know. Like, when am I supposed to start taking off my clothes and sing Let Me Entertain You? Like, it just felt weird. But then now I'm like, she probably didn't mean it that way. I made it weird because that's what I do. I was like, let's make it weird.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? That's too normal. This feels too good. Let's make it weird.
Right? I'll be like, eat me, hey, it's Thanksgiving. No, we're not. We're gonna strip team.
So did you when you were younger, did you ever want to be like a recording artist, or did you only want to do singing having to do with acting?
Oh yeah, I definitely thought that one day I could grow up and become Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Turns out you cannot do that. That you can't become people. Yeah,
well, that's also the millions of impersonators doing jobs.
So I actually was blessed or cursed to do an album with him when I was younger. I think that's when it like kind of like I was like, oh no, I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
Oh really? What did you do? Like what album was it? Like
History.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and nobody likes it.
But what did you like what was that process like?
Oh, it was insane. Like I've recorded on quite a few albums with some pretty cool people, and sorry, just stopped recording again.
That's okay.
I've recorded with some really cool people, but nothing was as insane as that process. Like, we had to meet so many different like lawyers, and like there was just such a vetting process. And then it was like really in the height of when people were starting to like dog on him, which rightfully so.
So did you record like by yourself? Like what was the recording process like for that?
So we recorded at it's called Capitol Records. It's like this big round crazy building in Hollywood, and so it's a huge sound stage, and so there was all of us kids, each one of us mic'd, and he was there singing in front of us and stuff like that. So it's kind of more like soundtrack work than it was more like recording artist work.
Yeah, like in a booth or whatever.
I think just because of the sheer number of people that were working on that, there's like it's insane how many people was on that one song. But so we were recording in like this huge place, and he was there, and he was just kind of like very standoffish, like kind of very lots of bodyguards, and stuff like that. So it was not like I was used to, because like when kids are on set,
usually I was gonna say, were they like, did he like come by to say hi to you guys, or was he just like?
Yeah, he did. And we eventually had a day at his ranch, Neverland.
Whoa. You went to the ranch?
I did. Yeah, I did. And it was weird because I didn't think I remembered it, and then somebody forced me to watch that documentary.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to watch it because I have weird feelings.
Yeah.
So I watched it with my mom, and my mom after is like, did I do wrong? And I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's such a weird
know.
thing. Yeah. Did you
like,
guys go for the day, or did you stay over there?
No, we just went for the day. And but it was weird because like I was like, oh, the candy bar like station is around the corner. Like when I was watching the doc, I was like, whoa, I didn't know. I remembered stuff, you know, like, and yeah, but I don't remember anything weird, not with them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
but I wasn't his type either. So
yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
that's a sad actuality. But you see a lot of that stuff on like I had a little bit of an issue with a Me Too movement. And the issue I had was that I was accepting a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, well, that's just being on set. And then I was like, oh,
that's not,
you know, and I think a lot of us that have been in the industry for a long time had to catch ourselves. Not that we like excuse that behavior, but it was common to us. And we were just like, oh, that's when you stay away from him. Or, oh, that's when you like, you know, just
you normalize like learning the tricks to keep yourself safe versus calling out bad behavior or you know, versus accepting the bad behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you do it, even just accept it. You just kind of go, he's that creepy
You're like,
guy.
that's the job.
That's what this is. Yeah.
And it's such a weird thing. And I think it really, like, when I started talking about Me Too movement on stuff, I was like, oh no. And then I was like, oh no, I am the problem. Like, I'm not the big problem. I'm just the problem. You know, like, I'm not the problem.
Right. To clarify which part of the problem I am.
Or like, I'm a moon. I'm a moon orbiting around the problem.
I think I'm like an aftershock. I'm like the reason, like, you know, like
I'm the problem solar system.
Yeah, like I'm the PTSD wave. And I just didn't realize it, and then I was just like, oh, ew.
It is weird though. Like, and that's it sounds like your mom went to a lot of your gigs. So that's with your mom around. Imagine if like you had the type of parents that were just like, all right, we'll drop you off. We'll see you in 8 hours or whatever. Yeah. Anything could have happened to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a huge apartment complex called Oakwood Apartments, which is not called Oakwood anymore. It's called Ava. And it's like right off of Barham near Universal. And that's where all the kids from Disney and Nickelodeon would stay if their parents were not going to stay in town. So they would have like a chaperone and several kids to a room or to an apartment. And the debauchery that went on there. And I used to hang out there. I just was not into like drugs. I just wasn't. Like I loved watching people. Like I loved
That's how my friends and I grew up. We didn't even grow up in LA, but we had like a sit down in our mid-20s, and we were like, a lot of people we hung out with have died of overdoses. We were like, how did none of us do drugs? Like the three of us, like, or four of us, we never did drugs, but we were always around people. And I was like, I think we were wild, but we weren't wild in that way. We be like, we'll be around all that craziness, but we never did it. And I was just like, how did we never do that? Like we just
it looks so
it doesn't
crazy.
Look fun.
No, it doesn't look fun. And I, you know, nothing was really like, my parents weren't like, if you ever drink, well, you'll never be, you know, like like if you have a sip or if you drink, call us and just be safe. And so I had no like desire to sneak off and do it, because I was like, well, it's not okay, but it's like if I got there,
it's not demonized.
Right. And then I also just saw all these people like getting knocked up or, you know, doing crazy shit and then like ruining their careers, and I just like, nah, I'm cool, I'll just watch you guys.
When
I got here, I was looking for jobs, and there was a essentially like front desk whatever at Chateau Marmont, and which I've never been to, but I was like reading the euphemisms basically of what the job entailed, and it like made sure to be like, you know, get the guests everything that they legally can have. And I was like, oh, there's like a part of me that's like, I'm so interested, and like another part of me that's like, you won't do well with like a coked out starlet screaming at you that you won't get her more coke. Like that's not where you're gonna thrive as a as an adult woman trying to work. So,
yeah,
so I let
great.
that one go.
It's not great. You don't want to see that side of humanity.
No, I
but
don't.
yeah, I've had glimpses.
Yeah, so was there a point where that turned for you from where it was like, oh, I do cute singing, to like, oh man, I'm in the adult side of the entertainment industry, not the adult entertainment industry, but like,
I mean, I did work at a porn shop, but that's a whole nother thing. What can you do? I had to work nights to go to acting school during the day.
Because those classes are 4 hours long, which is a different conversation.
Yeah,
that's absurd.
But we could, girl, we could unload. But was there a point where I felt like I was finally an adult in the industry?
Yeah, or just like, yeah, did you feel like, was there a point
where
you
saw it differently?
Like, kid, yeah, like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first time I was kind of Me Too'd was probably the moment I was like, oh, there's no one here to say anything.
Yeah, like, where's my mom?
Yeah. Like, I want my mommy.
Yeah.
And so I think I was like 18 or something like that. I played tits and ass for a long time, like 17, 18 years old. Like, I had boobs, I was skinny, and I had like a big butt, and I played prostitute in a few movies, and like bar, you know, eye candy and stuff like that. And my mom loves to tell people she was a prostitute. I was like, thank you. I was also a doctor in something. Why don't you say that? But maybe that's redundant because, you know, my sister.
Yeah, so we already have one of those.
Yeah, we already. Oh, fine. I played a space captain once. Let's just pick what we want to be. Yeah. So I think that was probably like, I think the moment I felt like I was an adult is like the time that I realized like my mom doesn't have to go to set with me anymore.
Yeah.
She can't, even if I want her to.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when I had to start like really like figuring out my own career stuff, like, okay, well, if I don't like this manager, I'm in charge.
You have to do something about it.
Yeah. And like, I was like, but I really liked it when everyone did that for me. I also changed my name when I was 18 because there was a bounce around about my name when I was a kid. They kept trying different names with me. And so I changed my name when I was 18. And I think I felt more like myself when I changed my name to my biological name.
What was your fake name? Like, what was your stage name?
Oh God, we tried so many. Okay, well, I think I was like Stacy Allison at one point, Allison Washington, Stacy Washington, and then I finally, I'm sorry, SAG, I own like so many names. But I finally just changed it over to Anastasia Washington when I was 18,
just to be like, okay,
felt more me. And
is Stacy a middle name?
Stacy is actually just a short name for Anastasia.
Oh, for Anastasia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and Allison's my middle name, so they were playing around with it. It's so white sounding, and they were just always trying to whiteify me, and I was always just like ruining it for them.
Yeah, good for you.
You're like, I'm still gonna show up to the audition.
Yeah, they're still gonna see me, and I still have an afro, so I don't know what I want to do. I straighten my hair and said, I'm just like, good for you. As soon as the light hits me, as soon as the light hits me, maybe an afro. Have fun.
So you're chilling now. You got a show.
I do.
Yeah, where can people find you? Because we'll put all the notes, we'll put all the links and everything in the show notes. But where can we find you if we want more?
Usually at Target. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect.
I love it. I'm always there.
That's a hot place right now.
Yeah. No. I should have said something like Whole Foods, like fancy, but I'm not. So
Here
you
you
can
are.
find me at Anastasia W on Twitter, at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, because I could not get it across the board the same way. And I have a YouTube channel called Anastasia TV where I put like comedy sketches and some songs and stuff like that. And what else? Oh, my one woman show. Depending on when this comes out, you can find it through the Whitefire Theater. Black Voices Film. I always say film festival. Black Voices Theater Festival. See, I'm always thinking film instead of theater, man.
I know, that's all right.
And if not, I think it's gonna come out like digitally some other way. But if you follow me, I'll probably be posting about it because that's what we do, right? We just keep posting about stuff. Do. I definitely want to make it an Audible book. So,
oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So if you want to, get the woke lessons that you need, definitely watch that show.
Get the lessons,
Get the
everyone.
lessons.
I teach them.
This is the time. You want a fun teacher?
Yes, you will laugh, and I will warn you when it gets bad. I give you warnings.
All I can ask. Thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing your wild tales. You're definitely a child star to us. And
thank you.
I was gonna say and an adult one, but again, different.
You are
context.
an adult star.
How did you see that video? I'm just kidding.
We'll put the link in the show notes. Your mom sent it to me.
Damn it, Mom.
Follow Anastasia, follow Pinky Promise, do all the liking, sharing, rating, and reviewing that we ask you to do every week. And thank you to those who've done it. And just be good people. Don't be dicks,
don't be shitbags,
etc.
Yeah,
be nice. Life is hard right now for a lot of people. All right, this got weird.
That was dragging. Bye.